Good morning, everybody. My name is Darren Shapiro. My title is Director of New Business Development for a company called Sinclair Broadcast Group. But before I start, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm in the TV business for 35 years. That's where I've spent my entire adult life working, in the TV business. And for the last 28 years, I've worked for this company called Sinclair Broadcast Group. So I'm a TV guy, just by default. That's what I've done. But I've actually become an expert, after 35 years, you hope you become an expert, in marketing. And over the last 15 years of my 35 years, I've spent on the road. I travel to every single market. I see literally 1,000 business owners or people who run their business just like you every year. And the things that I'm going to talk about today, hopefully not will only be resonating with what you already do, but maybe you'll come away with at least one or two good ideas. So I will guarantee you're going to learn something. And I also guarantee you another thing. Human nature is people listen selectively. People listen for what they know. It's just the way it goes. And if anybody grew up watching like the Charlie Brown cartoons, I don't want you to think like I'm Charlie Brown's teacher who goes, wah, 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 wah. Everybody remember Charlie Brown? This is my best stuff. So if you're not buying into it, hello. This side of the room I like already. This side of the room, not so much. Come on now. So I'm going to talk about integrated marketing solutions, but the terminology that I'm going to use is going to be called the Omni Channel approach. For example, how many people in here have a website for their business? Raise your hand. Okay, so keep your hands up. I'm going to ask you a quick question. How many of your competitors have a website for their business? All of them. How many of you actually have a business listing? I love that everybody listens. They keep their hands up. Did I say put your hands down? I'm kidding. Take it easy. He's in. He's like, dude, what's up? Ladies and gentlemen, my cousin, right there, Chattanooga side. So most business owners ran to the web. And you should, but how many of your competitors are currently still listed in the yellow pages? All of them. How many of them will come up if I do a Google search? All of them. But for this meeting, I want you to think how many of your competitors are currently on television. And if you can't come up with all of them, you might have that competitive advantage. So let me talk about a guy who lived 100 years ago. His name's P.T. Barnum. You know who he was, right? He did the Barnum and Bailey Circus. And he really, I think, is the originator of marketing, because what he did was he got people to come to a tent on the outskirts of town to see the bearded lady and some elephants. So his quote, which was over 100 years ago, think about this, was, without promotion, something terrible happens, nothing. So those of you who are actively promoting your business, you're smart. Those of you who have pulled back on your marketing or pulled back on your promotion, that's not smart if you are a business owner who wants to grow the business. I'm going to cover so many things here today, but first I want to talk about Sinclair Broadcast Group. It's the largest group owner of TV stations in the United States. It's based in Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I live. Although you could tell my accent is more Chattanooga than anything else, right? I'm like northern Tennessee. Is that what it is? We own or operate 233 television stations. Now, I'm not bragging, but last year we did $2.7 billion in revenue. We're a publicly traded company. I'm not trying to say anything, buy the stock. I'm telling you that the focus of this meeting is not about bragging, but telling you $2.3 billion worth of revenue can't be wrong. We have advertisers on every level, whether it's General Motors or Taco Bell or McDonald's, spending all their revenue, all their marketing, utilizing the power of television. And this is just our company. This is not the whole landscape of TV. We are affiliated with all major networks. I don't know if you know this, but when we say we're either ABC, we happen to be an ABC station and a Fox station and a CW affiliate, that means we get the programming from them. Now, that doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter to you. Those are our brands. When I say Fox, you conjure up what Fox is, and when I say ABC, you might think, oh, The Bachelor or whatever. But for this meeting, I want to talk about you, and I want to talk about branding your business. If you don't know where our growth is coming from, I'm going to tell you. Our growth, even in a $2.7 billion business, is not coming from General Motors or Taco Bell. They spend their money. They don't increase their spending every year. They're consistent. Our growth is coming from local. And if you could tell, you look around the room, and it's a very nice full room today, but you could notice these are business owners that probably are concerned about, where do I spend my next marketing dollar? You want return on your investment. But I'm going to be suggesting today the Omni Channel approach, which is combining TV, digital, which I'm going to talk a little bit about, and a great idea is really the best way to approach it. And at the very end of my meeting, the last 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you about a great idea that we've created for small businesses. Small businesses who didn't think they could buy TV. Small businesses who didn't think they could dynamically change the way their brand is in the market. We're going to look at improving your current digital footprint. I saw you have websites. Does everybody have a social media aspect for the business? Raise your hands, right? So I'm going to let you know, though, that a website is not marketing. A website is a destination point for someone to get to. It's a very important part of the process. And your social media side is also not marketing. In fact, if it's anything, it's what's called advocacy marketing, meaning who really comes to your Facebook page except for somebody who's experienced your product. You don't go to a pizza place and say, I'm going to follow a pizza place unless you've eaten at the pizza place. You're not Nike. You're not Apple. People aren't just following you. So I'm going to take you on that journey, and I'm going to utilize that omni-channel marketing solution as the approach. But I do have a question for you. I do have a direction for you. The goal for your marketing is to truly mirror how consumers act. And if I ask this, and I've been in the business a long time, if we go back 20 years ago, and when I was doing this, there was no such thing as a website for local businesses. 25 years ago, forget about it. There wasn't even a mobile phone. So the reason why you're on the web is smart because that's part of the consumer experience. But the big question I have for small businesses is, what is your current main source of marketing? And I'm going to caution you, I'm kind of quirky. Does everybody notice I'm quirky? Do you also notice I'm extremely charming? What's up? That guy's hoping I hang out with him later. Look at him. So if I ask you what your main source of marketing is, marketing for this discussion has to be something you control, right? People like to say word of mouth. Word of mouth is not marketing. Very important for businesses. Word of mouth, you can't control what they say, when they say it, who they say it to, how often they say it. That's not marketing. That's a result of somebody who's already experienced your business. Bad word of mouth could put a lot of you out of business. Good word of mouth is great. But then again, good word of mouth doesn't get you any further than the person that's talking. So if I ask you what your main source of marketing is, I'm really looking, is it online? Is it consumer-based, face-to-face talking? Or is it people just driving by your business? I'll start with you, yes? She's like, why did I sit in the second row? Yes, just tell everybody your name of business, and what your main source of marketing is.
We actually do use our local TV channel.
Well, what's your name?
Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne. Yvonne says they do use the local TV channels, and Yvonne is a millionaire. Thank you. I'll go with this young lady. What's the name of your business? What's your name of business, and main source of marketing?
My name is Emily Camp. I'm the marketing manager for Animal Clinic Eat in Chattanooga, and I would say our main source of marketing comes from a little bit of three different ways. Drive by our clinic, free to see. If you got a sick dog, bring it in. Online source of marketing, we mainly like to use our directories. We type it in our sources. SEM marketing is a great place for us, and obviously, just thinking the local having area services.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you don't look 60 years old. You look damn good. You look damn good. She's been in for, didn't she say she's been here for 60 years? Okay, I'm going to take one more. This young man at the front.
My name is David Sockhouse. I'm with the Chattanooga Area Schools Federal Credit Union, and we have a closed field membership or a closed customer base. So a lot of our marketing efforts have been in the past, direct marketing. We do a lot of school systems, so we
Community-based, a lot of community-based, because you're a credit union, you call yourself, your customers are not customers, they're members, right?
That's right.
Most people don't understand that. Oh, I deal with them all the time.
So ours is a closed field membership, so you have to specifically work for a school system where you can be a member. And we have basically used direct mail marketing.
Okay, smart. Now, the reason why I've asked all of you just to mention anything, and I'll get to some of you as well, I just want to see everybody's in the same boat. There's some people doing a little bit more SEM, SEO. We've got a little bit more direct mail type of focus, specifically targeted towards a specific category of people. I love it because obviously there's different ways to, as they call it, skin the cat. But the thing I want to talk about is how consumers act. Now, I'm going to tell you something very important. Marketing does not create a customer? A customer is created by one thing, a trigger event. I have a hole in my roof, I need a roofer. I don't think about a roofer before that. It's a trigger event. You mentioned you're an animal clinic. If I don't have any pets, I don't have any trigger events. But when that dog is sick, are you a 24-hour clinic?
We're open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
7 a.m. to, okay, so we would let everybody know make sure your dog only gets sick between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. I'm kidding, right, exactly. By the way, this is my show. What's going on here? I mean, I like you and stuff, but, right, so they react to trigger events, so think for a second. So consumers act based on an immediate need. It's a hole in my roof, I need a roofer. But if you live in Chattanooga and you go through some of these winters for 20 years and you've never seen a roofer, there is a long-term need for the roofer, right? And consumers act based on perceived need. Now, let me give you a great trigger event that happened to me, but I'm assuming, because I'm just a consumer like you, that it's happened to you. So I'm driving down the highway 6 months ago. I'm driving down the highway and a truck passes me and something comes off the truck, I don't know, a pebble, whatever, and it hits my windshield on the passenger side. You know when it hits the windshield? You know, you've had that happen, right? Here, yeah? Okay, so the first thing I did, because I'm just a dopey human, is I turn on the windshield wiper, like that's gonna do anything. You ever do that? I'm gonna fix that, yay. Well, I looked over, as I'm driving, and I don't see anything, so I'm like, yes, it's like a win. You're like, yes, nothing happened. I go to work, I get back in my car on the end of the day, and as I'm driving, the sun has been setting, and it hits my windshield, and I see a little starfish on the windshield. You understand? So instead of me cursing or yelling, I start uncontrollably singing, "Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace." I mean, I don't even know how I know this song. I'm driving down, it's Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. Now, think for a second, and I want you to understand, I'm going to keep singing, but I want you to understand that there's something weird that happens that I decided to start singing Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. It's the only thing that happened to me. But I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not testing anyone. I never test you. I'm testing marketing expertise, not for you, but for businesses. So you've all heard of Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Repair, right? We know that they really don't fix tires. We know what they do. We don't know what we do because we research them. We know what they do because they have a marketing direction. And they want everyone to understand that when they have a problem, I mean, some people might rattle off, hey, they'll come to your job. Hey, they'll fix something while you're at your soccer game. That's their marketing. That's their marketing. But I will ask, and I ask David, because again, David's in the front. But David, I'm not testing you, but could you please name me 2 other people that do what Safe Light do in Chattanooga that isn't a national brand? Could you, off the top of your head, I'm not testing you.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
You can't, so, and by the way, I just gave everybody about another 10 seconds. Could you name 2 others? But here's what's funny. I'm not testing you. What I'm saying is, there isn't just one person in this entire market that could fix windshields. The marketing that Safe Light has done has beat the competition. So here's my challenge for all of you. So there's a trigger event that has to happen before. I've already discussed with you the trigger event, right? You're sick, your dog is sick, or whatever, just needs shots or whatever. That's a trigger. But are you the person that comes to you? What's your business and what would be the trigger? Candace.
Renew All Things, and it's a candle shop and home goods.
So what would be a trigger? I want to buy a gift. Right. So the idea, though, is if you're looking at the immediate need consumer, the long-term need, or the perceived need, it's your marketing that challenges it. Now, I'm not talking about gifts could be perceived need, but the biggest perceived need out there is usually targeted towards women. Women are bombarded. Change your hair, change your makeup, change your clothes, change your bag, change your shoes. I have 1 pair of black shoes. That's it. That's what I have. My wife has 80 pairs of black shoes. I'm not sure what the thing is. Yeah, that doesn't happen anywhere else. But I'm not sure what that's about. But perceived need, I had another thing happen to me. So just to give you this story for a moment. So I travel all the time. And I live in Baltimore, Maryland. And I have 3 sons, they're all grown. I have 2 dogs, I've got cars, I got all this stuff. But when I come home, if there's a problem, there's always something going on the way my wife acts to me. So I fly in, I go into the kitchen, and my wife's sitting there and she says, "We need to talk." Now, I don't want to betray any men's confidences here, but when a woman says to her man, "We need to talk," this is how men think. First, I think, I will deny everything. Then I'm sorry, I'm betraying you. Then I think, I didn't do anything. But she's like, we need to talk. So, and I'm a good boy. We're married 27 years already. But I said to her, what? She says, it's time to redo the kitchen. Now, I want to take a look. That was my trigger. I wasn't thinking about redoing the kitchen. The trigger was my wife wants to redo the kitchen. And is it an immediate need? I didn't see that the cabinets fell off the wall. The cabinets are still there, because that would be an immediate need. Long-term need, yeah, let's push that off, right? I got kids in college, whatever. I'm eating noodles for dinner, who knows? And then last but not least, though, it fell into this perceived need. So I say to my wife, why are we redoing the kitchen? She says, because it's outdated. Whatever that means. I don't know. I really don't. I learned, but I don't know. And then I said, how much? Now, I know this woman, and she knows me. It's very important, how much? And without a blink, she says, $60,000. Now, I fainted, and a little puke came out of my mouth. It was laying right there. And when I got up, I was like, $60,000 for what? So she says, well, I'm going to redo the cabinets and redo the floors and redo the countertops, and we're going to get new appliances. And I'm still saying, but $60,000, I'm envisioning debt for the next 100 years, who knows, 18 different mortgages. She says something that you should all actually hear when people make decisions to spend lots of money. She said, because I want it done right, and I want the best. Now, who in here offers the best service or best product? Who does? You better all raise your hands. Let's start saying, well, the other guy, right? So, but how would I know? But here's how a consumer acts. The trigger event happened. Now it's a perceived need. So what do I have to do? I have to make a decision. Or with my wife, we have to make a decision. And I will tell you, I didn't say, done, take out the money, yeah, make it rain. No, I said, let me think about it. And something happened over the next 2 weeks after she said that to me. Now, you got to hear what happened. Over the next 2 weeks, what kind of advertising and marketing did I start noticing? Remember, my wife said she's going to spend $60,000 on a kitchen, and it's going to need the best and all this. What kind of ads for what kind of businesses? No, divorce lawyers. Is everybody paying attention? You're not? No, I'm kidding. It's a very serious subject. But the idea, well, because it'd be cheaper, right? Get the hell out. It might be cheaper. No, I'm kidding. What I'm saying, though, is there are ads on TV for things that you don't need. There are things on TV, and there's tons of stuff online that are things you don't even look for. But what I want you to envision, really envision, is you need to be already running commercials before the Shapiros need a kitchen. You follow? I didn't start noticing, I'm like, well, it's great that the Shapiros are getting kitchen appliances. No, that's why you see advertising for cars, even though you don't buy a car every day. That's why you see advertising for lawyers, and if you've been injured in an accident, I don't look at my wife and say, I hope to get into an accident so I could call this guy. Yeah, it doesn't happen like that. So I want you to challenge in your mind, what's the trigger event, and how is your marketing currently targeting these people today? Because the term being known before you're needed, right? I look at credit unions, and based on my experience with credit unions, I believe in a weird economy, credit unions have better rates. When the economy gets better and the competitive Bank of America has those higher rates, I'm not as challenged to look for another place. But the credit union likes to say we have members. And we don't have board of directors. You're our board of directors, right? But it's the rates. It's either the competitive rates that you're able to do because you're a conglomerate, because you're a community-based bank, or a credit union. So you must be marketing to all your people constantly, all of these people, and consistently. Now, what is constant marketing for you as a consumer? Geico is a constant marketer. Geico's always on. I'll stop 100 people in downtown Chattanooga, say, name me 3 insurance companies. I'd do it in this room. Guarantee one of them is Geico, and you don't even use Geico. If I stop 100 people and say, where do I take my pet? Or what credit union should I go to? Or even explain to them, ask them, what is a credit union? Or where do I buy nice candles? Candles? Candles. Are you the first one that comes up or the second one? That's what your marketing does. And the consistently is, and you might not notice this, but Geico steps into the realm of telling everyone, hey, they do motorcycle insurance. Did you know that? They all do motorcycle insurance. Oh, we do boat insurance. They all do boat insurance. But they're consistent. They're targeting those people. We don't just do car insurance, we do home insurance. Are you alerting the consumer everything that you do? Not all, but the things that are important to you. That's the consistently, and then you should always take a creative approach. My approach to marketing has to do something that makes your business stand out. Now, a lot of people say they don't watch TV or they don't watch the commercials. That is a urban legend, okay? You all notice the commercials. It's just the way it goes. How do you know Geico? What are you searching out? What do you go home today and say, I hope a Geico commercial comes on. I hope a Sprite commercial comes on. That's why television's so great, because it's so invasive. So about a year or two ago, there's this car company out there, and it's a luxury car company. Now, if I asked anybody, I'll ask, I already picked, I'm picking the lady in red. Tell me two brands of luxury cars. Could you just tell me off the top of your head? There you go, BMW, Mercedes, that's fine. Now, when I was growing up, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, there was a car company that everyone wanted to have. And I'll tell you a good story. So I'm a little kid, I'm maybe 14 years old, and my grandfather, who was a Russian immigrant, literally off the boat, and I loved him. He was just the best. He always tried to teach me. He's like a teacher in his way. Yeah, he was actually a butcher. That's what he did for a living, but he was a teacher to me. So he said, Darren, I need to sit you down. You're 14. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I need to tell you the secret of life. There's three things you must believe in, okay? 14. He said, the first thing is you must honor God, right? He was a very religious man. I'll go that way. Why not? That's not a bad thing to say, right? Honor God. And he says, and when you get married and you have children, you must honor your wife and teach your children. So I'm like, okay, I'm in. I guess. I'm 14. What am I now? And he said, and I was like, okay, what's the third thing? He says, the third. And he says, and you will know when you're ready. I'm like, yes. He's like, when you're ready, you have to get a Cadillac. That's what he said. No joke. Now, there isn't a person in this room, maybe there is, that if I asked about 7 luxury vehicles, you'd not get to Cadillac. I asked my sons, I was like, how about Cadillac? They said, Dad, you're a spaz. Okay, so, I mean, it's BMW, it's Porsche, it's Acura, it's Lexus, it's what about the Cadillac? Yeah, they have a branding problem. And there was another competitor to them that was also near the top in the 70s and 80s, but fell out of favor. But they decided to do something creative. And I know you saw this commercial. So there's this actor named Matthew McConaughey, and they put him in a commercial. And he's like, sometimes when it rains and I fall in a pool and I'm talking to myself in the back of the car, you don't even know what he's talking about. What is he? He's like, I get to ride and drive, and I got people who are my friends, and I'm putting my contacts. What is he doing? But that was for the Lincoln Continental, and for you to hear from me, from a marketing side, it was ingenious, because 6 weeks after that commercial ran, that first round of commercials, their sales went up 500%. Now, it sounds like, wow, they were selling less than 50 vehicles a month across the entire United States. They went up to 280 vehicles. But challenge this, did the commercial make people buy cars? Or did the commercial make someone who was who wanted a luxury vehicle to try that car out? We need to challenge, is our marketing reaching the right people at the right time? Yes, it is, right? It is when you broad base and also you go creative. All right, so I grew up in New York. I knew you thought Chattanooga. I grew up in New York, and when I was a little boy, that's me, and I was a little boy, I was a voracious consumer. And the way I became a voracious consumer, I had no money, by the way. I was a voracious consumer because when I came home from school at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I watched cartoons. Now, I don't remember the cartoons as much as I remember one thing. Every single thing that came on TV, everything I wanted. I wanted a Schwinn bicycle. I wanted a Converse sneakers. I wanted a Count Chocula cereal. I wanted everything that was on TV, and I had no money. Now, I want to show you something because I noticed this. So this is a picture of me. It's all yellow and stuff because it was like in my mom's album, you know, like I'm her only son, so, oh, my Darren. So I had the same hairdo, by the way. I don't know. So I want to show you something. My parents, this is the high tech of the day, the reel-to-reel. Does anybody remember this? Is anybody under the age of 50, get out of my room, okay? Go call your grandma, okay? But I want to show you something. You know how people photobomb nowadays? You go, hey, there's a photobomb, and somebody's face in there. This is not a photobomb. My parents were hippies. There's a hookah right here. And there's pillows around the hookah. It's being used. Being used. This is the face of someone who says, get me out of here. That was there's ashtrays over here. What was going on there? It explains a lot. Okay, so here I am, a little boy, and like I was telling you, I watched television when I came home from school, and television literally taught me, for lack of a better term, taught me what was cool. It really did. It told me what toys were hot. It just did. There was no online. There was no Google, okay? There was no eBay or anything. There was no Amazon. There was just TV, you know, and AM transistor radio. So anyway, there was a marketer in those days, and you got to keep remembering, perceived need, long-term need. There's a marketer, and his name was Ron Popeil. I don't know if you ever heard of him. So he had this thing called the Popeil Pocket Fisherman, and this was a fishing pole that it would come on the screen, and it would say, we have the Popeil Pocket Fisherman. It's a fishing pole that folds, and you can put it on your belt, and it's a secret compartment for lures, and you could buy it at a place called Woolworths. Anybody remember Woolworths? It's called Target now. So here's this place. I see this ad. Now, did everybody hear where I grew up? I grew up in Queens, New York. There are no ponds in Queens, New York, okay? There's like rats in the sewers or something. But for some reason, there's a fishing pole. Anyone who fishes knows a fishing pole that folds, this is not a good fishing pole. Anyway. So and that's a picture of the actual box that's sitting in my house because I've never opened it. Now, I got my parents to buy me it. Trust me, I'm a good negotiator. But so my parents, like I said, were kind of hippies. But when I was 9, like all of us, I liked hanging out with my parents. That's who I hung out with, right? Right around 11, you're done. But at 9, does everybody remember hanging out with their parents? Does everybody remember those days? Yeah? Does everybody remember laughter? Okay. So here I am, Led Zeppelin. Here I am.